Hello, this is Eleanor from The Sound Review and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm back here today with another interview with an incredibly talented band. I will be speaking to Martyrs, who have just released their new single, Pin Blue Sometime, which I have already reviewed on my blog and recommend you go and listen to before you watch this interview. I will leave a link to the song, to Martyrs' socials and to my own blog in the description. I've really enjoyed exploring this band and listening to their discography, so I don't want to tell you too much myself. I'll let them tell you all that you need to know about Martyrs and Pin Blue Sometime. So without further ado, let's get right into this interview.
So I'm John, so I am the person who plays and records all of the instruments and the music in Martyrs. And Martyrs is a two-piece band combo thing, pairing, duet, not a duet, I don't know any singing, of myself and Michael Hall. And we are on our recording 10 singles at the minute, which is following our second album, which was released in 2024. We've been together for, in our current guise, like 3 years, but I first started playing music with Michael when I was 15, so that is a horrifying 31 years ago.
Brilliant. I mean, my first question was how did you become a band? How did you form? Which you've kind of already answered there. How did you meet, you two guys?
So we met in school. We were in secondary school together. We bonded over the fact that we were different to everybody else in the fairly conservative Welsh school that we came from. We were both considered quite weird, and as you probably know, that actually becomes an asset as you get older because it's what's actually known as being interesting. And we formed a friendship when we were sort of 11, 12 years old. Michael was the one who had aspirations of being in a band, and he had a couple of friends who had guitars, so I picked up the bass, and it started from there. So yeah, we were like 15 years old, played a few gigs, but we sort of realised that we were, because we had very, very similar musical influences at the time, we realised we weren't going to grow staying with each other. And we were big fans of professional wrestling, specifically Japanese professional wrestling, and they have a system where you get your training in, early training in Japan, in the local promotion, and then they send you off on an excursion, and you go off to Mexico, or you go off to England, or you go off to America, or whatever, and you pick up skill sets from all of those other places, and then you come back. So the person who went to Mexico brought back some high-flying masked lucha libre stuff. The person who went to England brought back some traditional 1970s British-style wrestling, and they all bring that together, and then the promotion just becomes better and stronger as a result of that. So we sort of vowed to do that. We were just like, okay, this is fine. We'll do this again, but we need to go, we need to see other people. So we went off and saw other people. And not going to lie, we were not expecting it to take 20 years for us to come back. That was a trifle longer than we expected, but, life, geography, and the world kind of got in between. So it was a while before we got back together. Actually, in 2014, we recorded one track together. And again, we weren't able to make it work after that, so we kind of drifted again. And then in 2020, I reopened the Flirtations again, and I just said to him, look, I've recorded this piece of music. I think it would work really well with some spoken word over it. And he was like, yeah, we'll give it a shot. And he did, and it was Overfilled, which was the first track, which we then put on our first album, Back. And it was really funny because we recorded it and it went really well and it sounded fantastic. And we were like, okay. I was texting him going to say, this went really well. Do you want to do like a 3-track EP or something, or do you want to do like a couple of B-sides? As I was sending it, he sent one back to me going, we should do an album. And that's Michael. Like, Michael is the one who has the unrealistic ideas. Right. And I see those as a personal challenge. So it was like, well, of course we're going to do an album. Why wouldn't we do an album? We've got literally one song under our belt over the last 10 years. It's absolutely an album. We should do that. So then that's where El Diablo came from.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, it's really interesting that you've kind of separated a few times, but always ended up back making music again.
Yes.
That's just brilliant.
Yeah.
So were you always called Martyrs, or did that come in the most recent kind of reunited?
That came from the 2014, the one-off 2014 track we did. And the reason being, I think this is just one of those things about you as you get older and you start to reevaluate different bits of your life. When we were kids, we didn't like where we came from because it was a very traditional, conservative, I say conservative with a small c, Welsh town. It was a Labour town, obviously. It was a Welsh town in the valleys, of course it was Labour. But it was quite a straight-laced, conservative place to grow up. And so we didn't feel like we fit in at all. And it wasn't until we got older that we realised how much of everything about the culture, not the straight-lacedness, not the conservativeness, but a lot of the other stuff influenced us and had its impact on our lives. And we both live in England now, but we do fondly remember where we come from. So where we come from is a place called Merthyr Tydfil, and it's Martyr Tydfil. It's a young princess who was martyred for her beliefs. And that's where we went the name from. So we sort of went, as a nod of appreciation to where we came from.
Oh, that's lovely. I mean, I was similar. I grew up in a really small town in the north, and no one looked like me. No one had like a similar interest.
Yep.
And then as soon as I moved to Liverpool for uni, I just found I was like, this is definitely where I belong. The music scene as well in Liverpool is just incredible. Like, it definitely changes who you are depending on where you are and where you grew up. Absolutely. And similar to you, I was always that kid in school who was a bit different, we'll say, a bit strange. But I love it. I mean, as you grow up, you realise that's actually the most interesting thing to be, the best thing to be, really. If you could tell us a little bit about your new single and how it kind of became your next project, and just a bit about what the song's about as well.
Yeah, so the latest single is called Pin Blue Sometime. Unfortunately, I asked Michael about 2 weeks ago, so what exactly is a pin blue sometime? Because otherwise I wouldn't actually be able to tell you, because this is the other thing, because we work remotely. We often get to the end of a song before we ask each other really basic questions, like, so this song, what exactly is it about? And he said it would be, so the term pin blue sometimes refers to like a sky being described as pin blue, which is a phrase I've never heard, but apparently it's a thing. So a bright azure blue sun sky, where the character in the song, or the main protagonist of the song, is one of these people who, as Michael said, he's the kind of person who'd wear a t-shirt saying absolutely no regrets. And it's like, and you're trying to convince who exactly? And it's like, it's somebody who's, they're waiting for the world to get better around them and not realizing that the through line as to all of their problems is that they're at the center of it. Yeah. And that they might actually need to change themselves. And it's that thing which, we've all been in that situation at various points where it's like, is it me? Should I act? Yeah, maybe it's actually me. Maybe I'm the one who actually needs to change. But this person just doesn't see that. It's like, no regrets. Everything's wonderful. She left me because it was a problem. It was an external problem. It's that sort of thing. And it's just exploring that mindset through it. It came about from me trying to become a guitarist, because I've played guitar on and off for years. I love guitar. I build guitar pedals in my spare time. So I kind of love the idea of it, but I've never been that technically proficient. So it's actually a collection of training exercises that I built for myself, which sounded quite musical, and then I strung them together, put them in the right key, and it was like a song. And I was like, okay, well, that's the basis of the song. And the hilarious thing is, my wife heard the song completed for the first time, and she was like, did you get your training exercises from that? I was like, no, it was the other way around. Yeah. There was me practicing twiddly stuff with my hands was how it all started off. And it went off in a ton of different directions. I write songs, when I don't have a genre to write to, I will write songs really incrementally. I'll put a part down and I will just play with it. I'll just have it looping in the background and I'll just play tons of different instruments. And whatever sounds good, it gets stuck down, and then I move on to the next thing, and then the next thing and the next thing, which is why it sounds quite so strange to have those sorts of guitars with a bit of spoken word and with a bit of, a hair metal guitar solo randomly in the first bit, and then horns blasting through it. All of that just comes because it's like, it works, and if it works, then I'm not taking it off. I'll just add the next bit to it. And Michael then sort of took that on further, and his vocal delivery was random. He did the spoken word at the start, then there was a lot of crooning. And my favourite bit, that whole the bridge breakdown section, where he sort of really just opens up emotionally. It's just like, I wasn't expecting that. And that's another part of how we write, because of course we write remotely. I sent him the guitar parts, he sent me the vocals, and I sent him the embellishments, and he sent me the backing vocals. So genuinely one of the favourite bits of my life is when I get what we call a return serve. So I'll send him a piece of music, and I'm like, I don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And then I get the email with a WAV file, and it's like, he's just done a thing over my song. I love what he does so much. It's never disappointing.
Yeah.
And it's always what I don't expect. So when I had that, especially that bit of the bridge, it was just like, that is magnificent. His voice is great. His lyrics are fantastic. So it's just such a joy to get those back. And then that inspires me to add more stuff, and then it sends back to him, and he loves it. So it's a wonderful experience. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, I love that about the song. Like, when I listened to it, I was sat on the train listening to it for the first time, and I was like, it's not even like a mix of genres particularly. It's just like a unique mix of instruments even that you wouldn't expect to hear together, but they work so perfectly together. It's like, I never knew that this could be a combination, but now that I do, I'm like, I want more. It's just brilliant.
No, the thing with that, the guitar solo, I think that's Michael's favourite bit, is that guitar solo which comes in really pointlessly at the end of the first verse. Like, just, why not? But like, that was just because I bought a new guitar pedal and it made that sound. And it was like, that was there next to me as the thing was playing. There was no previous, there was no point at which I went, I tell you what we need there, we need a seventh harmony. That's what, it was there, that was there, and it's like, well, it's too late now, I've done it. I can't possibly record something different, that would require effort. It's there, it's fine, so yeah.
I just kind of love the creativity you can tell that's gone into it without kind of, I mean, I would never have assumed that you just kind of put that together as you were going. What did you think you might have kind of learned or developed since the release of your previous single? Because obviously you did quite well with that single. And how did it affect the recording of the new one?
It was genuinely a little bit of a kind of, not a crisis, that's making it sound way too dramatic. We had a bit of a conversation, that's about what it was. Because Michael does all of the, he does all of the marketing and press, and he sends stuff out in the PR, and he sends, everything we do is completely DIY. I get stuck with mixing and mastering, which I'm not a big fan of. He gets stuck with having to send emails, which he's not a big fan of. So we kind of balance up the workload that way. Mm-hmm. And the last single was by far our most well-received single. And it was also probably, of all of the songs we've released, the most clear genre song we've ever done. It is a metal song. It is an old school 70s, 80s metal song. And we were like, the reason it's popular is because people can understand it. And it was like, should we not do a couple of songs that people can understand? And it was like, we've recorded Pin Blue Sometime. That is not a song that a lot of people will understand. So we genuinely had a bit of a toss of the coin. It's like, we got another metal song kind of in the back pocket, which was probably going to be the next single. It's like, do we release that next just so that we have got a single that, all the people who liked the previous one would like this one? And we were like, no, because that's kind of like false selling of goods. If you do two of those in a row, people go, oh yeah, Martyrs, that metal band. And then they'd be devastated when Pin Blue Sometime comes out, because it's like, well, that's not in the brochures. And it's like, no, the brochures are crazy. Every page on the brochure is different. That's the point. We're not so much a band, we're more a crate that you subscribe to, and you open it up, and sometimes there's a live chimp in there, and sometimes there's essential oil. But it just could be absolutely anything. So we did decide to go with, and that was the thing we learned from it, was we have to be true to what we do. Like, otherwise we will just write metal songs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, neither of us signed up for that. Like, if you listen to the previous album or the first album, there's not a metal song on there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so we couldn't become those people. We'd get bored within seconds.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a thing. So we'll see how it goes. It could be that, you know, there's like a handful of people who get this and they get Emily sometime. And it could just be that there's most of the people go, nah, it's just a bit weird. So we'll see.
Yeah,
But
it must be difficult trying to decide, because obviously you want people to like listen to your music, and if they have a specific genre that they like, they'll go towards that. But obviously if you kind of keep doing that and not be happy with what you're making, it becomes boring, and there's kind of no point then.
I think that one thing that's happened, I mean, like, growing up kind of in the 80s and 90s, I think we were way more tribal about music. I was, you know, when I was in the 90s, I listened to music if there were long-haired men playing guitar. Like, that, you know, that was an easy way of determining whether it was good quality. Now, there was a lot of dreadful grunge. So, like, you know, but I listened to grunge, and there's like, thankfully that's gone to a lesser or greater degree. There are people who, like, you know, dress like their genre, look like, and really live a particular type of music. But I think now you are far more likely to find somebody who will just like good quality music, you know. And it's almost like you could see then the band as a curator, like, of their own influences, rather than being, I'm a metal band, I'm in a pop band, I'm in a whatever, you know. It's so, yeah, I think there's a better chance now than ever of being able to have that flexibility.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, some of my favourite bands definitely do not stick to one genre, and I think that's the most interesting thing, because, like, they've got these, you know, musical skills already, and I just want to hear everything that they can do. It's kind of, I mean, sometimes it gets a bit repetitive, a bit boring if a whole album or their entire discography is one genre. I like a bit of variation. I think a lot of people are coming to like that as well these days as well. Yeah, I mean, I recently rearranged all my Spotify playlists in genre order, and I was like, I can't possibly listen to that many genres. And I finished, I was like, maybe I'm one of those people who listens to everything. I'll listen to everything.
I listen to everything. Yeah.
Oh, that's really, I mean, It segues into my kind of next. You kind of already answered this, but it says on your press release, it's you proudly stand by your non-conformist approach to genre. And it's I've written, what would you say was the biggest inspiration genre-wise for the new song? But as you said, it's kind of a mix.
It is. I think, oh God, is there even the biggest influence, I suppose, I could say the one biggest influence is Khruangbin or Khruangbin, depending on who's pronouncing it and when, and whether or not they understand where the root of the word comes from. But because his guitar playing style was the thing I was trying to do with those first practice exercises. Yeah. So in theory, then, you could say that the absolute root of it was something like Maria Tambien from Khruangbin, because it was that kind of guitar. But again, I think one of the other things I do is, if I really like a genre and there's something I want to take from it, I'll listen to it quite a lot. I'll try a few things, and then I will not listen to it at all until I finished recording. My memory is not good enough that I could recreate it perfectly. So it's like verbal storytelling. You know, everybody, when you tell a story to somebody else, they embellish it. When they tell it to somebody else, they embellish it. And that's how then you get an evolution of it. And that then means I won't copy a song exactly. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of tutorials for mixing and mastering, they say to use reference tracks. So if you want it to sound like this, use this track, compare the two, and there are actual tools which allow you to make it sound like that song. It's like, I cannot think of anything worse.
Yeah.
Like, that's like just literally copying the homework. You may as well just get the song AI generated.
Exactly.
And, you know, like, if you actually want to have something which was you, then, yeah, inspirations, a guitar sound or a rhythm or something like that. And then it's like, okay, well, that goes in the cupboard until I've finished.
Yeah. Stays in the back.
Yeah, absolutely.
That makes a lot of sense. I feel like if I listened to something over and over again, I would go away, make something, be like, this is brilliant, and then I'd listen. I've just copied it.
I've just nicked it. I've just stolen it. Yeah,
Unintentionally,
exactly.
that's definitely something I would do. What other kind of artists or bands do you guys look up to, either as inspiration or as kind of a motivation to where you guys want to be?
This is tough because I think I have fallen into the trap that a lot of us have with streaming services in that I have become so promiscuous with artists. It's like there's my Discover Weekly has thrown up some absolutely amazing songs over the years.
I love my Discover Weekly at the minute. It's just like the best part of my week.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then you realise that you've gone 6 months and you've listened to one song from 1,000 bands.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man, they've probably got a back catalogue, which I would love. But Discover Weekly's coming up tomorrow, and I've got stuff to listen to there. So it's like, it's really tough. Like as far as like inspirations go, though, and this is recency bias. So obviously, Michael and I went and saw Toto in London 2 days ago.
Wow.
And like there is barely a song from 1982 to 1994 that somebody on that stage hadn't played on. All of the Michael Jackson stuff, all of the Huey Lewis, new stuff, anything which Quincy Jones touched had them on it. Steve Lukather, from the guitarist from Toto, basically saved the song Beat It, because Quincy Jones had Eddie Van Halen come in to do a solo, because it was like, Michael Jackson needs a rock song. So you got Eddie Van Halen in to do the solo, did this crazy solo, and then Quincy Jones was like, I've got an R&B backing track and I've got a metal solo. They do not go together. And you got Steve Lukather in, and Steve Lukather then just wrote all of the guitar parts, all of the rhythm parts, tied the whole thing together and made one of the biggest selling songs of the 80s.
Yeah.
But nobody knows it was him. And it was just like, he did that. He's like your favorite producer's favorite guitarist. And it's like, he's one of those unsung heroes that it's like, he played on that, he played on that, he played on that, he played on that. He saved that song, he made that session. That it's like, that's, inspirational wise, that's crazy to have that level of talent and work ethic and skill, and that. So that I think is a big thing. It's not necessarily an inspiration for what we do, but just inspirational people in music.
Yeah, that's a brilliant one. I mean, it's like an unsung hero.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've talked already about the title of Being Pin Blue Sometime and what that means. It's a gorgeous title. It's really beautiful, and it leaves a lot to be discovered in the song as well, because you think, oh, what could that possibly mean? If you had to name it anything else, what would you think it would be called? It's a tricky one.
Oh yeah, because I didn't write the lyrics, so I would get it wrong. But Michael's not here, so tough. Sorry, Michael. I think there would be a real humorous clash in calling it Absolutely No Regrets, because that's not what the song is about. But it is a lyric in the song, and it is also as a song title. If you saw that as a song title, I mean you would not expect the song to sound like it does. No. So for sheer shock value, I'd want to call it Absolutely No Regrets, and Michael would hate that. But again, he's not here, so
yeah, I can't wait for him to see this. You'll get a text like,
We are definitely not letting you title any of the songs going forward. Saying that, we did have one instance where he wouldn't let me title a song.
No.
Which was, and he was right. He was absolutely right. So I think possibly the second most beautiful title of any song that we've got is Summer Half Moon Heights.
Yeah.
As in, there's a place, Half Moon Heights. It's such a lyrical title. Now, I didn't know that he wanted that as the title. And I wrote the backing music for it on a synthesizer. When I had my first bout of COVID, I'd been watching a Madonna concert. And if you listen to it and you ignore the vocals, it sounds like an early 80s Madonna song. And I thought, it sounds like Madonna. So I called it Diego, because there was a footballer called Diego Maradona, and Maradona sounds like Madonna.
Yes.
So I sent him this demo called Diego, and we recorded it, and he was like, why have you called it Diego? And I explained that, and he went, that's adorable. That's not what we're calling it.
Thanks for your input, but absolutely not.
Yeah, absolutely not. We're not having an absolute joking title. So he put that, and I was like, well, what are you going to call it? Summer Hoffman Heights. I was like, that's so much better. Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
Can't believe I didn't think of that.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Do you guys have a favourite venue to play, or like a favourite place that you've been to play?
No, easy. This is interesting because we've only played we played together when we were really young, and then we played apart in various other bands when we got back together.
Cool.
We are not playing live.
Oh.
We've chosen absolutely not to play. A couple of reasons. One, it would restrict somewhat what I'd record. If I had one eye on how am I going to recreate this live, like Pin Blue sometime, like that live would cost so much. It was just, there'd have to be 12 people on stage, and it's like if I had that as a back and forth, then I potentially might strip out the horns, or I might strip out the second guitar, or I might strip out. So it's like, firstly, just to not have that restriction of the live version wouldn't sound as good as the recorded version. But second, just the really sad reality of in 2025.
Yeah, of course.
Everybody's losing money playing live.
Yeah.
There's nobody from, and even there's only two of us. Like, so again, we would have to strip the songs back so much for just the two of us to be able to do it. So we actually just thought, you know what, we won't do that. We really do enjoy, as I said, the writing process is one of the biggest joys of my life, receiving that stuff back and forth. And it's like, well, that would be enough. Even if we didn't release it, that would be enough of a reason to do this.
Yeah.
But the fact that the songs are coming out better than we would have hoped for, it makes sense to release them. Mm-hmm. So, like, that's it. But then, like, that's kind of the full stop. It's like, we love the recording, we love releasing, we love talking to people about it. The playing live, if anything, would be a detriment. And that's really sad. Don't get me wrong, I used to love playing live. Michael used to get terrible stage fright, so he didn't. But I used to really love playing live. But it's the stress, the anxiety, the time sink of it all. The fact that you would then just lose money on it as well. Yeah. It's really sad, but it's not a thing that we do.
Yeah, I mean, it's fully respectable, and it comes back to you guys again, just making music because you want to make music and you want to be creative. And I mean, it makes a lot of sense. A lot of people are struggling to even just play anywhere because of the money, and it's a completely like normal decision, I think, to make. A lot of people are doing it nowadays.
And the lack of venues.
Yes,
exactly. Especially since COVID, the number of venues that are actually able to play live music, and then noise curfews and all of that sort of stuff. Everything is stacked against musicians trying to make a living live now.
Yeah.
So, and we will lose it. We will become like, and it's not just this country, so I can't say it's just this country. We'll become a live music desert. There just won't be.
Yeah, it's a real shame. Like, I noticed it in Liverpool, like, we've still got some really tiny venues and then like the arena, but there's no kind of medium-sized venues left.
No.
It's
exactly
madness. So everything is either in a really tiny room where they can't sell enough tickets to make money off of it, or in a big arena that they won't be able to sell out. It's really like it's a shame to see them go, because they're all like really community driven, and it's a really real big shame to see it happen. And I hope it does turn around, but I'm keeping some hope there. But the way it's going,
But it's really funny. It's like, I don't quite know where you're supposed to make a living out of being a musician now, because it used to be that it's gone back and forth over the years. You'd play live, you'd have records, and they'd be a promotional tool for people to come to see you live. But then when record sales was really how you made the money, the concerts or shows were how you got people to buy the record.
Yeah.
Now there's no records, and you can't afford to do shows. So it's like, well, that money's gone. You can't support a new band through T-shirts alone. So,
What do you think is kind of, I mean, I wouldn't say an end goal, but like a big dream for you guys to do? Is it like your next album or something like that?
I think it is. Michael again set out, much like we should do an album. It was Michael who said, we should do 10 singles. It's like, okay, fine. So like, I think there will be a real sense of achievement when single 10 gets released and it's out the door. Yeah. It's like, that'll feel like an interesting body of work by itself. We are, in theory, going to be recording an album in parallel. That album is going to be interesting. We're not going to share too much about it, but we are thinking it's going to be a hilariously obscure concept album.
Brilliant.
So yeah, like it's one of those where we will probably just release that quite quietly because it's going to be. A lot of people are going to be and this is coming from somebody who thinks Pin Blue Sometime is a really great song and people need to hear it. When I talk about the album, that's going to be weird.
Well, I'll be there. I'll be there to listen to it. I'll look forward to it.
Yes. I'm hoping that we will collect enough people who fly the weird flag high enough by that point that they will take it in the spirit it's intended.
Yes,
so yeah,
amazing. I'm just worried we've got I think we've got like 5 minutes left, so I'll ask my last question. And it's kind of a similar question, just what's next?
So next is definitely going to be another single. I think that the other thing for me is that we're trying to have a visual identity which goes, because the last album we made sure all of the singles and all of the artwork was consistent. So it was all photographs I took during, there's one day a year in New York City, which is called Manhattan Henge, when the sun actually comes down in between two of the streets and actually like literally sets between the two streets. And that's what the album cover is. So you see the Spotify album cover, that was taken then. And all of the photos from all of the singles were that same day, but from different parts of New York. Oh, yeah. So we had a really strong visual identity for that set. This is same sort of thing. We're trying to have a complete visual identity for all the singles, but it is actually based on making professional wrestling photographs that do not look anything like professional wrestling. So if you look at the artwork for Pin Blue Sometime and you look at the artwork for that, actually they were both from pro wrestling shows, but neither of them look like they've got anything to do with pro wrestling.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
So yeah, that's a bit of an exclusive. We haven't told anybody that that's what it is. So a lot of people just think they're unusual, slightly arty photos.
Yeah, I did think I was like trying to relate the image to the song. I was like, what does this mean? So I mean, I'm glad I know now. Yeah, well, that's all my questions. I don't know if you want to do kind of a little promotional little shout out for your own single.
Yes, yeah. So please listen to Pin Blue Sometime by Martyrs. It came out earlier this week, and it is the second of 10 single releases that we are doing over this year.